Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you all are enjoying your lunch or wherever you are. We are on our, well, I guess nobody's logged in as just as yet, but this is part two of our reverb discussion, future proofing TNT music. We have hopefully three exciting guests for you today. Um, Everybody's having a little bit of technical issues. Hopefully. So, first of all, we're going to bring in Ryan Alexander, more commonly known as DJ Private Ryan. He is an internationally acclaimed and well respected and sought after Caribbean DJ. Private Ryan has built a dedicated global audience, both online and offline, which he uses to promote music of the Caribbean. So, let me add in.
Hey, how you going?
Hey, Ryan, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Great. So, all right, we just had GI on, but he was having a little technical issues, so he logged off. He's logging back on now.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, we can start discussion while we wait on everybody else. So, I mean, I noticed you doing a trend over the last couple of years as releasing songs on your own. I guess that was really good foresight to see, transitioning to this kind of digital economy. I mean, before you did that, what kind of issues did you think our local and by extension Caribbean music and gig economy used to face? Like, what kind of issues did you face, and what issues did you hear being spoken about before this whole COVID thing?
In terms of original production, music-wise.
Yeah, well, that, and also from being a DJ and trying to like curate all this music that you do, and creating this whole this hub for the Caribbean music that you do.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been somebody who just created my own lane. So from the mixtapes to traveling to doing a lot of things, I was for the most part on my own for a little while, like mixtape circuit, getting the music out, and the vision behind it was always to get all the stuff into the hands of the people that were looking for it, that didn't know where to find it. So there was no central place at the time I started. There was no central place to find everything Caribbean and soca music, especially soca music has always been trying to find its place in the world, in a sense. Gig wise, I never really had a problem, because the rise of the carnival, I've been traveling and going and representing the music across the diaspora that lives away. They too, in terms of like any issue I see would be the hub, which is the most important thing. So right now, I think what happens is that people, when they're looking for soca music, they look at YouTube, right? But in order for them to go to YouTube, a lot of the times they actually listen to the mixes first. Right. And from the mixes, for the people who don't listen to online radio down here, that's where they learn the songs and then they go seek them out. But the challenge, I would say, is that, I think the artists in general needed to create that online presence, because what happened is that the soca industry built its whole infrastructure on performances. And what COVID-19 highlighted was the big flaw in that model, because now that the gigs are gone, the digital part has suffered in a sense, because they didn't invest in building their followers, looking at their streams and really like paying attention to people in the world that may be unorthodox, that, would purchase their content and then they can sustain a living off of it.
Right. So yeah, you talk about like the default of this kind of the gig economy, because I mean that was what Carnival is like. It was literally a gig based economy. I think maybe 90% of the artists' income came from live performances. I would suggest. So like the challenge as a DJ working in that sort of system, what kind of things did you put in place to kind of mitigate that having to do like 400 gigs a year or whatever it was that you probably used to do?
For me, it was, well, as with any business, you have to diversify. So for me, it was not just about, DJing for gigs, but also starting to do my own. So I did create Soca Brainwash and Soca Starter and Press Play and other entities that were also revenue generators, and also things that, you know, I could put my own creative input into, instead of, you know, playing for events that, you know, I had no creative say in it. As well, I went into production. So producing music, which is another extension of the creativity, also putting your work into the music itself, and also is a business model as well, because of course there's a lot of potential when it comes to music, in terms of streaming, in terms of music placement, when it comes to like being used in corporate ads, sync deals, which are when, you know, any like sitcom or TV show may pick up your song for any reason. The Tourism Trinidad use Feely Love as a campaign. So there's a lot of different ways that you could monetize music when you get into creating it. And then too, you can invest, you use those resources, and then you can invest in other things that have nothing to do with entertainment. So you create a whole, you know, business enterprise that then consists of different things. And I also went into, which is going to launch very soon, merchandise, which is the Battalion brand. So like there's a lot of different things that you can build around. Yes, you have the talent, and you that is your gig, but then what do you do with the goodwill that you built to create a whole enterprise around it? And that's what I was able to do. I'm still in the process of doing it too.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And speaking about basically creating this brand and your own events, we have Chantal here. So Chantal Esdelle, a graduate from Berklee College of Music with a BMus in jazz composition, and also a graduate from York University with an MA in ethnomusicology. So I'm going to bring in Chantal to the conversation, because she's someone who has done a bunch of these things. Hi, Chantal. How are you?
I am well, thanks.
Hey, Chantal.
Yes. So
Good afternoon.
we're now just speaking about the kind of issues that you faced even before COVID. Doing, I know you are more based in the jazz industry, which is, I mean, pretty a large subset of the kind of subcultures in Trinidad. You know, obviously it doesn't have the size and the power of the soca industry, but it definitely has a dedicated audience and events and certain promotions that everybody look forward to. I mean, the Ethnic Jazz Club, I think, being one of them. You know, so can you maybe elaborate on some of the issues you might have faced before COVID as a jazz musician and trying to push this part of the culture forward?
Well, I think one of the major challenges for an artist who is also trying to be a producer and a promoter and a space manager is that it's a lot of hats to be worn. And you get tired easily. I also teach. So, you know, it's like, and I teach privately, so it's private students, but it's necessary to wear all these hats in order to have a business, to eat food and pay rent and so on. So one of the major challenges, I think, before COVID is reaching a younger audience. The people who support jazz, what I put it in inverted commas, because what we really play is kaiso, and we improvising on kaiso. So it is Caribbean music with a different slant. Right. So one of the major things is to grow the audience, and I've been really battling with that. I think one of the things that occurred to me is that a major thing that needs to be done is for us to tap into school, so do performances in school, so that people will have an idea what music would sound like and maybe have an affinity to it. So I think awareness, finding paths to helping, you know, the audience, helping grow the audience, finding paths to having people hear music, and while hearing it, you know, grow to like it and have access to it. So that's one of the challenges. There was a time when I had a radio program on 100.5 FM when Tony Harford was in charge of that frequency, and at that time, I'd say that was 2010 to about 2014. It was a space where the jazz audience could come, and it also had to develop a lot of jazz events that took off at that time, Jazz Artists on the Greens, which was in existence for a long time, tapped into that as well. But as you said in the introduction, it is a small audience. So if there is a fight for frequency or space, the jazz numbers, both physically in terms of audience and dollar-wise in terms of monetary significance.
Yeah, I think Chantal froze a little bit.
Something which is nice.
Yeah, feedback.
Right.
Maybe from your
You could
computer.
play the music, have music, and have people have access to it. Is my Wi-Fi bonky?
Yeah, it's just coming in and out. But yeah, no, so that,
Okay.
I mean, that is an issue. I mean, I work in those kind of alternative markets too, so I know what it's like. So we also have General Imran on the call. So General Imran is the reigning Chutney Soca Monarch for 2021, retaining his title from 2020. So let's bring in General Imran. Hi, afternoon.
Hi, afternoon, everybody. Chantal,
Good afternoon.
very good afternoon. First and foremost, we correct that General Imran is no longer existing in this industry.
Okay,
We transitioned from General Imran to GI 6 years ago. So
GI. So yeah, so we're not saying that again.
we don't even exist as that brand anymore.
GI.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Great. So GI, like, as I saw a really nice article, you talking about the Chutney Soca Monarch competition and how the promoters and the organizers of that decided to push it and put it on. I think they were one of the first organizations to say, yeah, we're going to still have this despite this restricted carnival, or no carnival, as they want to say. So, I mean, I think it's really good that, you know, artists are still getting a chance to perform and things, but what was some of the issues you would face in your industry kind of pre-COVID? Because I know that the whole competition mindset is a kind of weird one.
Yeah, to start off with, I think George Singh and Southex were the first set of promoters and entity that decided to go on with competition in Trinidad and Tobago. And then Soca Monarch and other competitions followed. Even when he decided to do that, I was a bit skeptical. I mean, yeah, people saying somewhat of a carnival, but so in my book there was no carnival, because if the heads of the table said, "Hey, no carnival," he just to say, you know, there's carnival, because they were cracking down on everything. I mean, there were promoters who took the risk and did virtual events and stuff like that at their cost, because sponsors wasn't coming on nothing. I mean, I am Hennessy Trinidad and Tobago brand ambassador, and even we saw the decline in their support, you know, where crews were concerned and where, you know, we heading into the competition. I basically, or my team and I, we decided to defend the title of Chutney Soca Monarch because we saw it fitting to defend the culture in the most down time right now. So I didn't defend the title for money or anything like that, because there's no, at this point in time, we don't even know what is the prize money that was given to Chutney Soca Monarch.
Right.
If there is a prize structure or any prize money, so I did not do it for money. We basically invested in culture from our pockets, and whatever little sponsorships we got from Hennessy and other support from business people and stuff like that, which was very, very minimal. Majority came from our pockets, and we did it to defend the culture of Trinidad and Tobago. I saw it fitting that we are facing probably the most downtime ever. I'm 34 years of age, and in my 34 years of life, this is probably the most difficult time. And that's the fact that growing up, I came from a very humble beginning, but where my career is concerned, this was probably the most downtime ever. And again, I saw it fitting for us to defend the culture. So we defended our title. We were able to retain the title. I was able to bring forth a positive song this year that won the title. So that in itself was a great achievement for us because my song was entitled Drink Together, but in no way it was drinking alcohol. It was a song about bringing people together. And,
Right.
you know, you have a choice in life what you choose to drink or eat or, you know, consume in your body. Um, and the message in the song was strong and people actually took the message and I was happy to, you know, to put out something positive. Not that I am against anything. I also sing rum songs. I also sing songs about all kind of things. But I was happy at this point in time to put something on the table that it actually sent a message to people because the song entails when God calls their number, it's over. So before it's too late and we never have a chance to see each other, let's have a drink together. So, you know, putting a product out like that, and I mean, I'm going to say it straight up, Voice is the artist that I really, you know, respect in this sense where this type of music is concerned because he always puts out a lot of positive music, but yet people gravitates towards his music. So I was like, why it is that Chutney can't do the same thing? And that's the reason for me doing something like this. And it worked really well. I also have my follow-up song for next year if I decide to defend my title. So on a positive note as well.
Okay.
Pre-COVID, boy, outside of COVID, within COVID, we all face difficulties in the music industry. I think us artists, DJs, everybody, because we all represent the music community in Trinidad and Tobago, whether it be soca or chutney soca or gospel or jazz or whatever the case may be, we represent the flag of Trinidad and Tobago. And I think whoever sits at the head of the table need to respect us artists, DJs, people in culture and the whole dancers, drummers, everybody, whether it be Tassa or African drumming, whatever the case may be, because I will use Private Ryan as an example, right? He flies the flag of Trinidad and Tobago throughout the world. And I think enough respect is not given to Private Ryan, right? And I know Private Ryan somewhat personally. You know, he's a very influential person in our music industry here in Trinidad and Tobago. His mixtapes hit places like China and all these kind of things. And this is me going to Europe and yo, you know Private Ryan. I like his mixtapes. You know, people look forward to his mixtape. And people like Ryan and people like Marshall and even men like Laundry and thing who pushes culture. And let me use RVRB as an example in Chutney, you know, who I have a great respect for. These are guys that fly the flag. Even myself, I fly the flag of Trinidad and Tobago. But notice, I'm not putting myself in this because I have a greater respect for these guys who was there before me. They basically paved that road for me to walk down smoothly. Not because I want to Chutney Soca Monarchs back to back, make me feel that I am bigger than these guys. They were dealing with all the difficult times before me, before I even existed in the industry. My brand is only 6 years old. And I think we need to pay a little more respect to these guys. I think the government of Trinidad and Tobago, whether who sits in government, whether it be UNC, PNM, top cop, it doesn't matter. We need to pay respect to these guys, to pay respect to the music fraternity in Trinidad and Tobago because it used to be oil and music, and you realize where the oil gone, right? So we left with music. So we need to pay that respect to the people that are really flying the flag. And I mean, something more needs to be done. $5,000 last year you given to artists for 1 year. That makes no sense. That is, I mean, yeah, it was welcoming at the point in time, but what are we gonna do? That's probably be our gas bill for the month because we have so much things to get done, so much runs to make. Oh, in COVID, out of COVID, we still had to have music on the table. Ryan still had to do a mixtape. I still had to write a song and go and Chutney Soca Monarch and represent. I still had to give the people hope. which we did. We gave the people hope by producing music. Ryan did his mixtapes. Soca artists, Chutney artists was bringing music on board. It cost us money to produce a song, to shoot a music video. Our music video not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the quality of music video that I shot for Dream Together, I was like, my budget, I always exceed my budget anyway. If you look at my production for Chutney Soca Monarch, we don't even know where's the prize money, but we still went out there. And then the other things that the government not even really support the competitions. At least if there's no carnival, say guys, here we're going on. Let's have X amount of virtual concerts for the season. The January, February, we could only fund a certain amount. And allocate the funding where it's necessary and where it makes sense or where it makes sense. Because if Ryan doing Soca Brainwash show or whatever the case may be, we know there's an event to look forward to. Or if Sheldon Stephen doing a lot of experience, we know there's an event to look forward to. Or Marshall wants to do a virtual online concert, Marshall Monday, just saying, that's something we should invest into. Not only wait when us the artists doing music for carnival and people coming in from all over the world, then you want to invest in the culture. What about we facing the down times? Why not invest in it in the down times as well? I mean, it's same as our taxpayers' money, is our money because I pay my taxes as well. It's our money that is going back into the culture. So it's just like money using up on money is recycled money.
Right.
You understand? So I mean, a lot more should be done. A lot more needs to be done. That's just my take. A lot of respect needs to be paid to the people that represent Trinidad and Tobago. Again, I will say, it used to be oil and music. It's music now. There's not much oil in Trinidad and Tobago, but there's a lot of talent and there's a lot of music. So we need to invest in it.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that brings us to a good point. I mean, before we started the conversation, Ryan and I was talking about this kind of move to digitization. I want to know how everybody, we could just chime in. This kind of, I mean, Ryan was making the point that, we're not there yet, but we're trying. So, I mean, how y'all feel about that?
I will agree with Ryan that we're not there yet, but at least we're trying. We're in the right direction, but we're not there yet. I mean, I could only use my experience recently, which is the Chutney Soca Monarch. It was virtual. And we were able, within limitations, to put on a show that woo people, and that is something that we headed in the right direction. Because we still had to carry on the show, right? Ryan still had to go and do a live. I mean, he would probably have thousands of people on his live, but he still had to do it.
I still did Soca Brainwash virtual, and I invited all the international DJs to come on, and it was a great success. And that, as you said, that was not something that was for free, but it was an investment into the culture. The same way that the songs I put out throughout the season, whether it be Irfan, Second, Kess, Turner, College Boy, everyone that I worked with, those songs also required investment as well too, because of course the mix and master of a song is not graphics are not free, mail blasts are not for free. All these things still are running costs, but there were significant investments into putting out a quality product that the world could consume, and putting it up for the world to see that as the mecca of carnival, we didn't sit still when the industry needed it the most. Because I think that would have been a bad representation of us and our culture. So it's important that the people, and it's not just about artists and producers, it's just holistically, we could work together and bring forth things, in a time when there's actually no blueprint. It's a great opportunity to create new ideas and new opportunities and new artists, new everything. So yes, we're on the journey where the digitization, we get into that point where the digital world, because we were such a performance-driven, we are still a performance-driven industry. We need to start paying attention to how do we now penetrate the markets, get more out there. How do we raise the revenue earning potential of the artists as well? Because you look at what, for example, in the African world, the hip hop world, the Afrobeat world, what they're able to earn when they travel and go on tours and these things. We need to look at how can we then elevate the industry as a whole, where our culture is valued at a measurable standard compared to the rest of the world. You know, so like there's a lot to go through, but it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a collective effort.
And that's the thing. That's why I said that the heads of the table need to really think about the move forward, because again, we are investing in what we have in front of us, which is music. We have so much talented people, as you said. We are the mecca of carnival. We are the mecca of partying in the Caribbean, right? Soca music has gone down the islands, right? Now Chutney Soca music has gone down into Guyana, and they're producing good stuff.
Huge, very huge.
So the thing about it is, you know, we need to invest in what we have in front of us, which is our music, our artists, our DJs, our artistic people here in Trinidad and Tobago. And we will, the country will gain from it, because bigger the artists is, more people come to your shows, more people come to Trinidad for carnival. So if we keep investing into it, and we keep going out there and representing, and we keep growing and growing and growing, when we have a show here, people is going to come in for carnival. Hey, private line, soca. Well, we know Soca Brainwash is always a sold out event. I tried to get in there last year to just lie, man. It was like, yeah, but I just thought it's cool on my head up, you know, because when you keep going at it,
send a message next year. Well,
yeah, you just want to one event that you just want to just chill. You don't want to perform. You don't want to do nothing. You just want to chill, and I couldn't get it. So, you know, then we have, we have things like Chutney Land and all this stuff that have thousands of people, tens of thousands of people. Marshall Monday, 25,000, 20,000 people, you understand? We need to invest, because if people do not know and they're not aware of us here in Trinidad and Tobago and what we're capable of doing, and they only know the little one or two, when we have events in Trinidad, they're not going to come in. They will only go to the same Kiss Tuesday, Marshall Monday. They have so much more to offer here. We have so much more artists to offer.
Right. Speaking of more to offer, so I know, Chantal, you've been doing these ethnic jazz studio concerts once a month right now, or is it once a week?
It's not once a week. It has been perennial. We did something in September, we did something for Christmas, and we did something for Carnival. Usually here at the studio, we do about 4 or 5 concerts for the year. So what we had to do in this COVID time is we recorded the performance. So we recorded an emancipation performance and 2 other shows that we put forward as a package for people to purchase online tickets for during the month of September. Right. And then for December, for Christmas, we're still under strict COVID regulations. So we also performed for the camera and put it online. Carnival, we had a very small audience, just about 15 people here, but again, it was recorded and put online. And what we were aiming for really is to keep our existing audience, as small as it is, engaged and patronizing the event. So it has to be now that you record everything that you're doing at this time, even smaller audiences, and go for the visual thing. The new studio really is our website. So, you know, you direct everybody to your site as best as you can. Ours is Chantal Esdelle.com. So you direct people to the website, you have your button for them to, we have a view and contribute and the option to contribute. So you don't have to pay to see, because we are also trying to grow an audience. So it makes sense for people who are not familiar with the work to be able to log on and see it without having to pay as a teaser, I suppose. And for those who patronize the work to do their usual, to pay what they usually would or give more. Some people do give a lot more. I think that the direction for us now is to do recordings and also have music for sale more, but it's all very tight. As is usual in Trinidad, if people could get it for free and don't have to pay, they will take that option. So the handful of patrons that are devoted to financially committing to supporting the work is integral. I think that we need to have more support from state agencies, both in in finance, not just to pay the artists that are putting out their work and time and expertise, but also in developing platforms where people who, as GI was saying, people who are outside who have an inkling about Trinidad, they could go to well-known platforms and sample a range of things so that they could have a larger plate. So, a larger buffet, I should say, if I'm using the food as a metaphor, a larger buffet to choose from things and support things.
So is that something that we would say that the resources being dedicated to the support of the arts definitely needs like an injection of capital, right? Whether it is from state or private enterprise. Yeah, we can all agree on that.
They did it for every other enterprise. They did it for oil, they did it for sugar, they continue to do it for everything that they can, except the arts and sport, which is what, keeps society buoyant and keeps people buoyant. They have never done it for the arts in a tangible way. Everyone on this call, I'm sure, is putting a lot of their money into whatever they are doing. And the kind of resources that are available to us from state agencies is not very much. And people will say, well, why you need it? But every industry needs financial and physical support from the administration that governs the state.
Yeah. So yeah, the need for capital injection is definitely necessary. So how do y'all feel about the need for the educational side of it? Because I know, like Ryan, you were able to do a paid event online and were able to, I'm assuming, to generate some sort of return on that investment to do that, correct?
The only paid event that I did, not paid, but it was actually donation based, was when I did a Soca Brainwash fundraiser last year, and then I took the money and we dedicated all proceeds to buying food packages and spreading it across the country. So I did it as something because I knew people were actually in need, and we wanted to encourage the same international community that comes in and they support soca, and we use that to facilitate that. But I didn't do any. The events that I did, people could actually stream it for free.
For free, yeah. Right. So I mean, that brings us to this dilemma, right? So I mean, for the foreseeable future, a gig economy is not possible. Correct? We can't do this. We can't get 15,000 people in a venue. Probably not for the next 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
To experience this. How do you all see the way forward? Kind of not being able to do this, even if, as Chantal's model, she does these concerts, 15 people attending live, but then she's able to create a whole product that she can now sell or monetize to limitless amounts of people. I mean,
the challenge that the Caribbean community faces is that there's been a precedent that's been set, which is going to be a little hard to reverse. Now, the rest of the world, meaning America and these places, have a pay-per-view model, right? So the same way that people are accustomed to pay for, let's say, Netflix, or if Beyonce's in concert, you want to see her, you can pay for those things. But because we didn't pay attention to those things over the years, we've programmed the Caribbean diaspora to get this content for free. So now we have an uphill battle when now the gigs are now gone. Now it's a little challenging to then now charge the patrons to view the same content that they've been programmed to get for free. So for us to really change the conversation, it's going to take a gradual investment and changing of the mindset that, if I really want to view this experience, we can do it. So that you see, for example, the hybrid model that I believe Kes used, which is where the Caribbean was able to view it, but outside they geo-locked it. So outside, but you have to pay a fee to then view the stream. Once you start doing things like that, it then starts creating the mindset that, listen, this is an actual show. This is an actual product. So it's twofold. It's one, you program people into paying for the content, but on our end, we also need to make sure that our product is good. because you have to show value for money. Because if I invest, let's say $5 into a show, you have to make sure that the show is actually good and well produced. So it takes two sides, because sometimes I think, in some shows you might see that, they didn't, put the extra effort to make sure it was polished and at a world standard. If we want to really have the conversation about being able to monetize, we need to be able to do both of those things simultaneously. And I think that is one of the major challenges we're going to face over the next year or two. But the reality of it is that the other side of it is that we may get distracted, because if the place starts to open up within the next year, then everyone's mindset is going to go right back into, okay, gigs are coming back, so let's all focus on that, So that's what I foresee as the major near future challenges.
Right, and yeah, so I mean, in my opinion, I think this hybrid style event should be something that should stay, because I know for sure there are audiences that are not able to come here to experience Carnival, and they would definitely pay for it,
Sure.
Not even just the diaspora, but just general people who
outside of that.
Exactly,
Then when we encourage people to come, right, when things open back up, then the government able to generate revenue from that. So that's why I keep saying we need to invest in it all now.
Right.
Because the government generate revenue from us.
Mm-hmm.
When we put out music that people love and we encourage, boy, you can't miss Carnival. Carnival is the thing here in Trinidad. And people like, yo, I go in Carnival or not? I go in Trinidad for Carnival. Who generating the revenue from that? Not me, not Ryan, not Chantal, the government.
The
right?
government makes a lot of money from that. The whole economy does.
No.
It's a major injection into the country.
When Ryan, you will know, Chantal, you will know that when people come in for Carnival, it's millions upon millions of dollars they generate in revenue. And they basically invest that much into us and make that much.
And they make it back from taxation.
Exactly.
Exactly, because they would look to tax everybody.
Every single
from New York. But I don't see any incentive programs. Well, at least I haven't seen any major incentive programs, that encourage us to do more. So there's a conversation that we have to have on a state level as well too. And Carnival, for people who don't see it, because there's some people who see what's in front of them, that they just see it's a party and a fete, which is not the truth. It is literally a sustainable income that for people straight down to the man on the street. When you think about the vendors, you think about the cleaners, you think about the security, the people who hold the ropes, the people who are the cooks. There's so many jobs that are created.
All the infrastructure will continue.
Right. From the hotel industry to everything. It literally is one of the biggest things that could happen. And
tourism,
holistically.
Tourism, Carnival is an attraction. They encourage tourists to come to Trinidad.
Correct.
When you come to Trinidad, you play Mass Monday and Tuesday, and Wednesday, cooling down on Maracas. Who gaining from that? Richards, Bacon, Shark, all these other people, all these vendors there. Even so, outside of the Monday and Tuesday, or outside of the fetes, tourists coming into the country, everybody gaining from it.
Yeah, so I mean, definitely that's why these conversations are very, very important. This is ammunition that we can take now to our ministries and say, hey, look, these people are the ones generating the income, generating the interest in our economy and in our festival. And with just a little bit more investment in it, we could multiply this tenfold, So imagine just this little bit of investment is generating all this creative products and income that can come in. Imagine with just double that investment, triple that investment into the artists, into the people on the ground doing the work, So right, talking about that, what about trends that you might be seeing that's happening outside of our little economy and outside of our industry? That is stuff that we could possibly adapt to our industry to try and make it more profitable and monetize it better, because it's not just about gigs and fetes. There's IP valuation. There's these, as Ryan was mentioning, sync licensing. These are some of the issues that, I think we need to start thinking about as artists as well.
Yes, music placement, which is we sync licensing, creating enterprises around the brand. So, like it goes through merchandising and a lot of different things. There's you look at how the international market they do broadcast deals. Can we look at can Carnival be broadcast internationally, and can a license be paid to broadcast that outside of Trinidad and Tobago? You have we have to look at the streams. How do we then create a scenario where we don't release a song today for tomorrow, but let's say we're able to pitch with Spotify is now in Trinidad, across the Caribbean. You have your song and you're able to pitch it to them. And how the process works is that you can pitch it to them 2 to 3 weeks in advance, and you get featured on an international playlist. It's like new music. And then you get a whole new audience that's being introduced to our music, which then generates more streams, which then by extension generates more income for the artists, which is now could incentivize others to do the same, because once they see the model is working, then others will be like, okay, then we're really going to invest time and energy into making a quality product so that when it goes out, it means the world is seen, and then there's even more interest. Then you have to look at the investment into the resources. Now, Trinidad for Carnival is at a cap, I would say, when it's at it. I think last year was a prime example. Carnival was huge last year. But do we have the resources to then accommodate even more people? So the conversation needs to happen. It's like, so, all right, how can we expand our capacity to then bring even more people to Trinidad and then be able to handle it with services, whether it be in hospitality, transportation, just even the road mechanics, because can't we even have any more? So like there's so many conversations to have to then bring it full circle. How do we then now encourage more people to encourage to support the arts? So you want to see with the private and the public sector, we could invest in these shows that actually highlight more than just the parties. Can we create something during the week that is actually on the level of I'll use it like a Marshall Monday, but but the cultural aspect of it, where they get get exposed to pan and stick fighting and a whole set of other things. Like there are things that still can be done, and I think that now as we're at a standstill, sometimes the pause is very important. To really understand what we have and what we can do with it going forward. I think that's where we should be. That's where we should be thinking.
Yeah. I think that one of the things that I think is very important is for people who have experience in various things to lend that to the collective pool. In other words, like Ryan has information and experience in how to get things out there, how to stream things. My strength is more in the musicianship and the production of music and creation of music. Somebody like GI, performance is the main thing. So to have various people with their expertise be part of the collaboration, so that you're not bipartisan just because they like this. There are people who have experience in certain things coming to the table, so that we could actually hone a sort of industrial talk about how we develop various aspects of the industry, rather than have one or two people having to wear many hats, as I described to you, is my situation a lot of the time, expending a lot of energy. So when we have and it can't be just talk, we should have structured talks that are leading towards policy that is going to be enacted and enabled within a certain amount of time. Because we have a pattern of talking a lot, and less of gelling together, policy building and policy implementing, and then maintaining. We also build a lot of things and we don't service it. It's like we have lots of buildings that falling down because we don't maintain stuff.
Yeah, Gia, you was going to say something, or can I continue?
No, continue. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
They covered everything there.
Okay, great. So, I'm real happy to hear that talk, because, that was one of the main issues we faced when we did part one of this. So everybody was clearly identifying one of the main issues in Trinidad is that sharing of information. Like the sharing of information is so important because everybody is experts in where they are. And I mean, there's no reason why me telling you how I did this means I wouldn't benefit, you know? You taking food out of my mouth, that's not what's happening, you know? I'm just trying to get you to be able to eat as well, you know? So, I mean, I think, yes, having an artist collective where this kind of information can be shared is very, very important. I mean, there are people who have created these paths and are able to capitalize on certain things that some people might not even have an idea that's possible. Like there are people when I speak to them about, hey, this song is really good, we could get us a movie, they have no idea to even start thinking about sync licensing. You know, they don't even know that that was a possibility, you know? So, I mean, as a state
no reason why, and I will say this, there's absolutely no reason why Tempted to Touch and Turn Me On are the two most globally known soca songs in the world to this day. Those songs came out in 2001 and 2. We are now in 2021. So that tells you how behind we are.
Yep.
And there are many songs that could have had the potential to do that as well since then.
Knowledge is key.
Yeah. And I definitely think, I mean, in my opinion, the state shouldn't be the one to encourage or to form artist collectives. It needs to be formed by the artists, you know?
Organic.
Yeah, exactly. It can't be mandated by state because that comes with a whole bunch of issues that you don't really want to deal with, you know?
I think collaboration is a major weakness of the industry. You can see it. Collaboration is one of the downfalls. But the thing is, that's where the power will lie. We haven't unlocked it yet. But I think it will happen. It's just when and who. And that's the real, you know. As I said, we have a culture of talking a lot, but there are a few doers that actually, when they say something, they move towards the goal. And I think that is something that in the industry is needed as well too.
Yeah, I was real happy to see RVRB at Jelano. It was Jelano. He did a song.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, that was, I mean, to me, that's a really good step in the right direction. You know, we need more of that. You know, less of the same thing over and over. People just using the same collaborators year after year and not really trying to expand into different markets, into different avenues, you know?
And that's something that COVID really, on my end, COVID really put a full stop on. Because we have so much things in planning. My team had so much things that they was working on outside of Trinidad and Tobago. Because if ever in future you would have a read at my bio, I want to win a Grammy one day. It may not be a Chutney Soca song I'll win the Grammy. But once I get there, I'll be able to introduce my culture to the world. But what we do here in Trinidad and Tobago. But then again, who knows? The direction of Chutney Soca music now is mainstream. The way we produce the song, the way we write is to appeal to a more mainstream market. And again, like so much that we had going on here where my team is concerned. I mean, I don't really be up in that. My stuff is production, making sure that I write in, and I leave the business aspect of management and all this kind of thing. I mean, I have an input, but I also get shut down because they think about, as Ryan was saying, and I said, knowledge is key. I have a team of people that is very knowledgeable in what we do. They educate themselves on a daily basis. So at the end of the day, I don't balance the scale of Chutney Soca and Soca or dancehall or nothing. We represent Trinidad and Tobago and culture here.
Music.
So music in Trinidad and Tobago and higher, I could go, anyone could go. They always open my door for us all. I met with RVRB after performing at Chutney Soca Monarch just as I finished and I came off stage because I recorded last. And you know what I told RVRB? I shook his hand and I told him, I said, I don't have COVID, first and foremost. And we laughed it out. And I was like, bro, I'm really happy to see that what you're doing. You're opening doorways for us. You're coming on. I think that I could probably give you one higher, and I will always say I'm upcoming because there's always so much more to learn. This in this industry, or for matter of fact, in anything you never stop learning. So you're always upcoming. Even the ones that knows it even higher than you, they still learning. I saw Ryan still learn on a daily basis, and that's
Every
great.
day.
Right?
Every single day.
Chantal, as great as she is, she's continuously learning. I am learning, and I will continue learning. No matter how high I go or how great I become as an artist, I will continuously be learning. And that's the thing. I told Ravi, I said, thanks for what you're doing, because you're opening doorways for us, for the younger ones. And that's great. And I mean, if it wasn't for COVID, I would have probably been able to achieve one of my biggest goals in 2020. But again, it boils down to the finances. If we're not making money, we can't invest. I mean, collaborations is good, and who you collaborate with, and etc. But it also, outside of Trinidad and Tobago, collaboration costs money, and we need money to do it. And that's the way we could continuously put Trinidad and Tobago on the map. Yeah, if we collaborate, but who we collaborating with?
Strategic collaboration.
Exactly.
All right. So, I mean, I think that's a nice place to tie this up. I don't know if anybody else has any particular issues that we can see that we want to address or anything, but I mean, I think that collaboration is key, and that capital investment is sorely needed are the two kind of main takeaways from this.
And structure.
And well, yes, of course.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have no industry. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if nobody else has anything to add, I want to just thank all our guests today, Private Ryan, GI, and Chantal. Thanks so much. I do look forward to some sort of collaboration with you all in the future. So I hope to see something. You know?
I just want to get into Soca next year. And I don't want to perform. I just want to come and chill.
God willing.
Yes. I have hope, and I know we will overcome this. We all will overcome this. And I will be in Soca Brainwash next year. And I will say, let's have a drink together.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yes, congratulations again. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So everybody take care. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next month. Okay. Take care.
Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.